free. And, as we kind of try to, I don't want to say look for weaknesses because I don't believe that they have a ton of weaknesses on defense, but as we look for advantages in numbers and hats and angles and everything, um, it's tough to find those things. But, I told our coaches this yesterday. I was like, we don't need to deviate from, who we are. Like, we are who we are. We got here doing things a certain way. And, I don't want to say why change things because we're going to change some things and we're going to have a game plan and everything. But, we're going to stay true to our identity and true to what we do and trust our players to make plays, trust our linemen to make blocks, and see where we are at the end.
One final thing, there was a key moment late in Moeller's game where they actually set up St. Xavier to have a chance to potentially recover an onside kick and come back and win the game. And I know that your team is all about preparation. It's all most, if not all, teams in the state of Ohio, and I'm sure that your special teams coaches are looking at that play closely just to see what your players can do to have an advantage in those sort of situations if you have Moeller backed up on a fourth down.
Yeah, I mean, we've got every single film on them, so that's made for a lot of special teams clips to watch. But our special teams coordinator does a great job, and the other coaches that help him out do a great job. And they've gone through every single clip and look for ways that we can find angles and try to find advantages with our guys and put them in good positions to be successful. And um, whether we get that opportunity to go after a punt or an onside kick or a punt return or whatever, our kids will be ready. That we have a system in place that we can adjust week to week based off of the team we're playing. And it seems like our kids play really free within it because they know their job, they know their role. They don't care who gets the credit, who gets the block, who gets the return. They just want to win. So they'll do it by any means necessary. So if that means doing some dirty work and going in and trying to block a punt, then we might have to do that. But yeah, we're excited for the opportunity, and we would love that opportunity to make that play.
Well, he's always the most prepared and he tells the best stories. It's Brent Ullery joining us once again. And Centerville's story is not quite finished yet. They've got a state semifinal with Moeller on the horizon this Friday. And, Coach, hopefully we get to do it one more time, man. Can we do it one more
That'd be
time
great.
next week? And hopefully you guys advance to the state championship. And thanks, as always, for your time, man. It's been a pleasure doing this with you every week.
Thank you, Will. We appreciate everything you guys do. You guys do a heck of a job. And, I don't think enough teams out there fully utilize you guys' services. You guys do a great job. So keep it up. We appreciate you.
Well, you've heard of a two-headed monster. This is the two-headed elk for the Centerville Elks. It's Shane Cole, Parker Johnson, quarterback, running back. These two have been playing lights out in the playoffs, and they played very well against Wayne last week, winning the regional final for the first time since 1991. Shane, through these playoffs, completing almost 70% of his passes, 582 passing yards, 5 touchdowns to just 1 interception. He's also rushed for 3 scores behind 145 yards rushing, and Parker Johnson has been the bell cow all season long for the Elks, and especially in these playoffs. 418 rushing yards for almost 105 yards per game on the ground. He added 102 yards last week against Wayne, 6 yards per carry, and 6 rushing touchdowns through 4 games in the playoffs. These two have been outstanding, and they're not going to need to do it again against a Moeller team that is also playing some excellent football. Welcome back. Will Ford here with you, Storied Rivals Sports Media. It's a cold one here in Mansfield, to say the very least. I think it feels like feels like under 10 right now. It's pretty cold, my friends. But 4th straight Final Four for Moeller, 28-23 win against St. Xavier last week, and a game that actually got pretty tight near the end. Moeller had, as you heard me talk about in that interview with Coach Ullery, they had a punt blocked near the end, touchdown, and then St. Xavier had an onside kick opportunity that they recovered, or initially thought they recovered, but a Centerville player did come out of the pile with it, and Centerville, or it's not a Centerville player, but a Moeller player came out with it, and Moeller ended up winning the game, and here they are in the Final Four for the 4th straight time. Two guys that stand out for this Moeller football team. Matt Ponatoski, 16 of 21 completions, 240 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns last week, and the lead guy on defense, plugging holes in the middle, is Thomas Csanyi, 13 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, eats up blocks, and commands a lot of attention by opposing offensive lines. And that's what Centerville is going to have to match up against tonight, is how do they displace Csanyi, get him moved off the line of scrimmage to be able to open up holes for Parker and Shane to run and do their thing. Centerville, underdogs on paper in this game, but with the weather as cold as it is, it really doesn't matter. Anything can happen, and that's going to be a good one in the Cincinnati area here this evening. But let's move now to the game that we're at tonight here at Arlin Field. We've got Olentangy Liberty beating Pick North last week in their regional final, and they're taking on Lakewood St. Edward, who they're the 3-time defending state champions. And if you look at Lakewood St. Edward, 2 guys that have had outstanding seasons. Their quarterback, Thomas Csanyi, 2,400 yards passing, 26 touchdown passes, 17 interceptions though, so maybe a bit mistake prone, and maybe something that Liberty can take advantage of tonight, is maybe baiting him into some throws, but also how much are you going to really throw the football, given that it is this cold out. Receivers' hands are going to be absolutely freezing, and that football is going to feel like a block of ice. But his lead receiver, Zach Hackleman, 857 yards receiving, 10 receiving touchdowns, and those two have been an elite connection all season long for St. Edward, and those 2 guys lead the flock for